Welcome, everyone, to episode 5 of a series I call Fierce Gentleness. The words fierce gentleness refer to a way of character development. You can go back to the introduction and from the other previous 4 talks to get probably a better idea of what that means, but what we talk about in this is a character that is kind and compassionate, but not somebody that is going to be passive. Neither aggressive, but to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done. To take action when action is needed. So please don't think that gentleness means passivity, or fierceness that means assertiveness. It's neither, yet both. Something that came up in this talk was actually inserted in what I'd already written, but it has to do with dealing with rather difficult people, stubborn people, perhaps. This is also a talk layering in compassion and what we consider compassion, what it is and what it is not. So I'll get started. I refer to my notes often because I want to make sure I cover things. You see me looking down, that's just I'm looking at my own notes. To see clearly is not to condone, but to recognize. I'll talk about clarity often, or seeing things as they are, or to see things clearly. And what I'm referring to there, so I don't have to repeat this too often, I guess, is that we see things without our own narrative or our opinion of how things should be. We're conscious of our own education, our culture, our experiences. And when we bring those things into how we view the world, we have filtered these things through our own eyes. So this is not how things actually are. This is how we see them. This is our perception. To see clearly is to see without that. Now, let's think about someone on the other end of that who's completely convinced about what they know, what they think, their experiences. We've all met people like this. So if I use the word arrogant, I'm talking about people who are extremely and profoundly dedicated to how they view the world. There's no room for other opinions. There's no room for other ideas. There's no room for this person to maybe learn something different or even appreciate something different. So this is what we're talking about. Another way of viewing arrogance is extremely self-centered or self-absorbed. Self-absorption, arrogance, is a quiet poison. It drifts through conversations, through actions, through intentions, leaving harm in its wake. Some people are so caught up in themselves that they cannot see the impact of their words or deeds. They may say something like, "This is how I am, you're just going to have to deal with it." And often we cannot reach them. But The mirror of self-absorption is not only outside us, it lives in us as well. Maybe we can recognize how we might be in that same way. When we are irritated, frustrated, or repelled by others' selfishness, we are given a gift, a reflection of where our own ego, attachment, or complacency might linger. Fierce gentleness is the practice of recognizing this reflection without judgment. And when I say without judgment, I mean we don't like, oh man, I'm not supposed to do that. But look at it like, wow, there I just did the same thing. I'm doing that right now, kind of thing. So that kind of reflection without judgment. It's knowing when to hold space, when to step back, and when to set boundaries. It's not about enabling harm or tolerating destructiveness. It's about meeting reality with clarity, presence, and compassion for others and for ourselves. We don't have to tolerate what is intolerable. It is not compassion when we give in to abuse. Compassion is doing the right thing, the decent thing, no matter what, and no matter the cost to you personally. A system built through arrogance and abuse will thrive as long as it is tolerated. True compassion is to stand against such an illusion. Let's talk about how this is in character development. Fierce gentleness meets harmful self-absorption with awareness, compassion, and clarity. It balances firmness and care, refusing harm while refusing blind judgment. The false version, or self, reacts with anger, or you can say ego. That often gets tossed in there, though it's not quite the same. Our self reacts with anger, our illusion of self. Avoidance, self-righteousness. It blames, condemns, or enables resentment. Boundaries become walls, and compassion becomes indulgence. When the self dissolves, there's no one actually that is frustrated, offended, or outraged. There's only clear perception, presence, and wise action. Responses arise naturally, guided by care and discernment rather than reaction or fear. So let's go over that just a little bit more. Covered a lot of ground so far. When we're involved with someone who is maybe proud of being stubborn, yeah, you're right, I'm stubborn. That's how I am. Well, we can talk to that person about how we feel or what we think, how we see things. And if they retaliate against that, which they're likely to do, well, because they're very dedicated to being self-absorbed, self-centered, it's not helpful for us to get angry at that person. It's not helpful for us to storm away. But we can recognize where they are trapped. And of course, if our peaceful, helpful suggestions don't work, well, then we can set boundaries and say, okay, well, here's where I'm at, here's where you're at, here's what I will tolerate, and here's what I will not. You say this or you do this, I'm not participating in that. I'm not sitting quietly by. I'll let you know. I'll hold up my hand and say, okay, you've crossed that line, I'm not dealing with that. That's true compassion. Maybe they reflect on it, maybe they won't. But what you don't do is continue to support that same kind of self-centeredness. It's not helpful for you. It's not helpful for the other person. Let's talk about how to practice this so that those kind of words can come out. First, you might imagine a situation. So sit quietly. Feel your body in space, feet on the floor, hands resting gently, spine upright but relaxed. You don't have to be in meditation, but in a posture where you can be noteworthy. And bring to mind a situation where someone's self-absorption or thoughtlessness has triggered you today. Notice the sensations in your body. If you're following this lineage of Chan, you're familiar with relaxing the body. If not, I'm sure there's another video on this YouTube channel somewhere where, well, I know there is, where we talked about relaxing the body. You may notice tightness in the body. It can be in the throat, in the chest, in the stomach, in the shoulders. Oftentimes, it's not just our thoughts, but our body can have reaction to unusual situations. Simply relaxing those places in your body can let go of that kind of tension. Tension in the body, I'll often say this, results in tension in the mind. Tension in the mind presents tension in the body. We get into a kind of loop, and we think we can think our way out of it, but you can't. Not right then. Usually we think about it 3 or 4 days later, but if you want to access this right now, you access it through the body. You call it somatic awareness. Realizing where there is tension in the body, releasing that tension in the body. And then you can think about it more thoroughly. So when you recognize those tensions, you can say to yourself, this is my reaction. This is what my ego is doing. You don't try to push it away or suppress it. Just relax. And then once you're relaxed, you can say, where do I kind of see some of those same tendencies in myself? When I feel justified for being angry or upset, or which is self-centeredness. Or do I just avoid situations, which is also self-centeredness, it's self-protecting. Are you acting out of habit? So we look at these things, not only through this reflective way, but through reactions in the body. So you want to act from presence. Once we're relaxed and we've thought about these things, we realize the nature of self, the illusion of self. And then we act from there. That's presence. That's relaxed presence. It's not reactive. If you've been dealing with this for a while, then in your evening sit, you think about these situations and you think about, where did I act from that kind of place today? And again, don't judge yourself harshly. Just know that that's what you've taught yourself to do. But we can also teach ourselves not to do those kind of things. To remain relaxed, to remain very clear on how we view the world and how we bring that into how we deal with others. Most people are not habituated this way, and so they're going to react from how they know themselves. The really strong personalities will be completely dedicated to this. Again, we can learn to deal with it by a level of tolerance that allows us to engage with this person, to a level of tolerance that says, yeah, I'm not doing that. And that's okay. So hopefully this is useful. If not, you can leave some comments and we can talk about it in greater detail. Thank you.